Hi, good evening, all of you. Hi, good evening, all of you. Hope you are able to view the screen. Hope you are able to get my voice. Hope it is clear to everyone. Please confirm so that we can start our discussion. Am I audible to all of you? Hello, please confirm in the chat box. Hope you are able to see the screen. Hope you are able to get my voice. Good evening, all of you. Please confirm. Okay, thank you, Mr. Sibaram Patra. Thank you so much for confirming that everything is okay. Connection is now. We all are getting connected and all. So let us discuss today about the deviations. Thank you again, Mr. Mahesh Aglave and Mr. Kalpesh Patil. Thank you so much. So let us discuss about now our today's discussion on deviations. See why the point is, because these deviations, many of you may be having a lot of experience. They may be having a lot of experience, maybe more than 10 years, 15 years, and you may be working in a pharma and handling the deviations in so many years. I agree with you, but still many people are making some mistake, or even I would say that many companies, I found that they lack in the deviation handling and deviation processes and all. So that is the reason I decided to discuss all these clarifications with these deviations and all on this topic. Because what happened, many people know they categorize the deviation based on some definitions like critical, major, minor, or level 1, level 2, level 3, and some examples are given with some definition of critical, major, minor. So I have prepared a small tool that you can even modify the tool. You can use that tool as per your convenience. Even you can update it, and that risk-based tool you can use it for categorization of these deviations. After that, how the trending should be done, and so many points we are going to discuss. Already I shared in the description box about this session that what are the major points we are going to discuss. So that is the reason I thought that let us discuss about this topic. This is the basic but very important. The reason is it is taken care, in complete pharmaceutical, whatever you can say, the pharmaceutical life. So you will take care of the deviations only, whether it is happen in the plant, or whether it is as a result of the non-conformity identified by the regulatory agencies, whatever. So deviation and change controls are the backbone of the pharma. And the second reason is it is a part of quality management system. And when the auditing is done, when any site is getting audited, the quality system is a mandatory to audit for all the auditors or for all the inspectors. So under the quality system, deviation plays a very important role. So that is the reason I thought that let us touch upon the deviations and discuss about the things and all. So let us go ahead with the our next discussion about next slide. So what we are going to discuss. So as we discuss about the brief about the concept deviation, then there will be some couple of slides about the trainer. Know you are a trainer. Why I am putting this, some people may feel that I am wasting my time, but what happened, many companies use this recording as a external training program in their organization. So they run this training in their company, and they fill the training attendance sheet to serve as a source of a external training purpose. So that is the reason the main requirement for the external training is you need to have a CV of the trainer, that who has provided the training. So that is the reason couple of slides I put about my CV and all, so that they can directly use as external training of this material. I will share some slides about the guideline expectations like EU, GMP, US FDA, ICH, ANVISA, and ISO. What are the expectations about the deviations or investigations and all that we are going to discuss from today about this topic. Then we will discuss about the detailed about the deviation. So how the different expectations of deviations, what are the categories or the levels of the deviations and what is the expectation from the deviations, that we will discuss in detail. Then we will discuss about some scientific way for categorization of the deviation, because what happened, see, if it is the major or critical, then okay, you can categorize easily that which is major and it is critical. But always there will be the conflict that whether it is a major or critical or minor or major. So always there will be conflict. So I suggested to have a simplified tool. So I took some reference from WHO, and a separate tool is prepared. But this is not the standard tool. You can modify that tool whatever I am going to present, and this is based on the risk-based approach, because as per the ICH Q9 risk assessment, the basic facilitation method is the check sheet or the checkpoints that can be used for risk assessment. So based on that tool, simple tool, I prepared this categorization, how we can categorize the deviations. And with that tool means, it's just questions you can say, and we can give the rating to the each question 1, 2, 3, and based on that we will have the evaluation criteria whether it is a critical, major or minor. Again, I am telling you that tool you can modify also, or you can add some more checkpoints in that also. It is just an example presented to you during our discussion. That simple way you can make it in a formalized in a scientific manner. Then the next point is categorization strategy for repeat deviations. Many companies, they have the register or logbook and they write that whether the deviation is repeat or not repeat, or even in the deviation format also, deviation is repeat nature or first time it is happened, it is being recorded. So my point here is how this repeat deviation should be categorized. That strategy you need to specify in your SOP, because just to identify the repeat deviation is not serve the purpose. That is the reason that point I am going to discuss. Then effective writing of the deviations. So we will have the general deviation flow. One slide I have put. I didn't much focus on deviation, then initiation and all. I am not going to discuss the basic deviation flow. That one slide only I put as it is a part of this topic. But how we can effectively write the deviation and how we can make writing or the drafting the deviation in a proper way, that I will be discussing. Then trending. Many companies, they are doing the trending, but how effectively we can do the trending of the deviations, that we are going to discuss during this session, and then followed by the question and answer session. So I suggest that you can put your all questions in the chat box. I am able to see all your questions and all. See, one point is that the YouTube is having some requirement that the participants who subscribe the YouTube channel Hitendra Kumar Shaha, it is a free of cost, please. So they only will able to put the comments or questions in the chat box. So please, if you are not able to put your questions in the chat box, immediately you subscribe it so that you can put the questions in the chat box. Okay, it is free of cost, so don't bother about the things and all. So let us go ahead with the next slide so that we can move ahead. So this is just an overview, or you can see the training agenda about the today's training session. And after this training session, if you need a training material or a training presentation copy, you can just raise the question in your comment section. I will share the link so that you can download the training presentation. Why I request to attend the training online when I am giving the training, because there will be continuous interaction between you and me, and I will able to answer your all questions immediately there itself. Second thing, the link whatever I am going to share for training material or training presentation, that will get expired in couple of days. So after suppose 1 month, if you are going through this learning, you may not able to access the training material. Okay, so please understand this aspect. And whenever we had free training sessions, all free sessions are every on a Saturday at 8 p.m. as per Indian Standard Time. So different topics I am going to conduct. So please attend these all sessions. Okay, so My name is Jitendra Kumar Shaha. I am a CGMP compliance consultant, trainer, and auditor from NADH plus GXP Compliance Services. And this is brief about my CV. There will be slight delay, in changing the slide. If I am changing the slide here, maybe it may take some 4 to 5 seconds to display in your screen. So that delay depends on the the YouTube and even the network, what we have different networks and all, so that delay is expected, so don't worry about that. So I work as the overall quality head also. I face a lot of regulatory inspections, and I am having analytical background also, and also I handle major GMP softwares also. I have audited more than 500 different vendors, because what happened, since last 13 years I am in auditing role. So in every month I am having minimum 5 to 6 audits. So if we calculate these, maybe more than 500 vendors or suppliers, but overall, we can consider that more than 500 vendors uh, are audited by me, and I have trained more than 5,000 or maybe 10,000 participants till date, or candidates till date. I am conducting a lot of training sessions and all. These are paid and free both. I am conducting the sessions. I am conducting the training session for on-site trainings, where I can go to your company or your plant, and then I can conduct the trainings. It will be very cheap to the organization also. So that way I am conducting so many training sessions. I work in different companies. I started my career with Sun Pharma. I work in a Blue Cross Laboratory. I work in Alembic Pharma. I work in US Vitamins. I work in some multinational companies like AstraZeneca, Sanofi, Mylan. So these slides indicates my work profile. Okay, work where I work there. This disclaimer I am putting here. So just for the safe precautionary point of view, I am putting the disclaimer here, because whatever I am presenting, it can be considered for learning purpose only, not directly implementation purpose. Because sometimes what happen, I share some examples or tools for implementation and all, but you can refer that and you can make your own. Okay, it cannot be just implemented as copy and paste in your organization. You have to apply your thought process. That is the reason I specified this disclaimer. Whatever I am presenting here, it is based on the guideline requirements. This is not from my own requirements. Okay, this is all whatever are the guideline requirements, and whatever the deficiencies or some normal observations, whatever I will discuss about the deviations, they are compiled based on my experience and some literature survey and all. Okay, so let us discuss about the first point, and that is the regulatory requirements of deviations. Okay, so again I am requesting that there may be some couple of seconds required to change the slide at your end. Okay, so the first is Utralex volume 4 part 2. So part 2 of Utralex volume 4 is for API, and as per that, the requirement is any deviation from established procedure should be documented and explained. Critical deviations should be investigated, and the investigation and its conclusions should be documented. Very clear expectations for API, because this part 2 of Utralex volume 4 is for basic requirements for API. So very clear requirements. Other requirements for API is written procedures should be established and followed for investigating critical deviations or the failure of a batch of intermediate or API to meet the specifications. Again, I am reading this. Written procedures should be established and followed for investigating critical deviations or the failure of a batch of an intermediate or API to meet its specifications. So you need to have a written SOP for that. The investigation should extend to other batches that may have been associated with the specific failure or deviation. So you need to perform the impact assessment. That is also expectation by EU GMP. These are just guideline references, so I am going through that. because you should know that what is the expectation of a guideline. That is the reason I am sharing this thought. Then Commission Directive 2003/94 EC, all process deviations and product defects shall be documented and thoroughly investigated. ICH Q7A is the same requirement in line with the Udranex Volume 4 Chapter 2. Critical deviation should be investigated and the investigation and its conclusion should be documented. Same requirements, because ICH and Udranex Volume 4 part Chapter 2 is exactly similar to each other. So here many people will ask one question, whether does it mean that we need to investigate only critical deviations? Only critical deviations we should investigate? The answer to this question is no. This is the expectation of the regulatory agency, but the point is that all the deviations need to be investigated, but the depth of the investigations you can consider while investigating the specific deviations. Hope you are with me and understanding the point. ICH Q10 is for quality system, or you can say the quality management system, and under that there is a section for CAPA, corrective actions and preventive actions, and you can see from the requirement is the pharmaceutical company should have a system for implementing corrective actions and preventive actions resulting from investigation of complaint, product rejection, non-conformance, recalls, deviations, audits, regulatory inspections and findings, and trends from process performance and product quality monitoring. So here the point is, when you are monitoring your process or product, you are performing the trending. From there also you should able to investigate through the deviation, and then you should take the CAPA as a part of this. So that way is the expectation. So the point is, you need to implement the CAPA as a result of investigation from the deviation. This is the ICH Q10 requirement. Again, I am telling these are the guideline requirements. So I am just sharing the information about this. Okay. Again, Volume 4, Utralex Volume 4, EU Guideline, Chapter 1 is for the medicinal product for human use. So in cases where the true root cause of issue cannot be determined, consideration should be given to identify the most likely root cause. The appropriate level of root cause analysis should be applied during the investigation of deviation, suspected product defect and other problem. So whatever deviation or whatever the product defect is identified and you are investigating that, the requirement is you need to apply the appropriate level of root cause analysis. So that is what I was telling you, that if it is a critical nature, then you need to put a lot of efforts to investigate, and if it is a minor, then you need to investigate, but the efforts for or the efforts for root cause analysis can not be at that much of extent. So that way you can judge on the basis of this requirement. Again, I am requesting, if you have any questions during our discussions and all, you can put in the chat box. I will reply to your all questions. Okay. ANVISA guideline is for the Brazil, and in ANVISA there are the articles, article 1, 2, 3. So this is article 26 for ANVISA. As per ANVISA guideline, all complaints and other information related to products which possible deviations in quality should be carefully investigated and recorded in line with the return procedures. And below is mentioned that sole paragraph there is a CAPA should be taken for quality deviation is proved. So if it is a quality deviation, so you need to take a CAPA. So this is the ANVISA requirement. So I just copy and pasted from the guideline, very clear, to make you aware, and you should make aware about that all the guidelines are expecting the deviations. I understand that you are working since long in the organization, you may be aware about this, but the point is you should know that what is the expectation of different guidelines. So I just presenting here the other expectations of FDA, US FDA. Okay, whenever I am using the word FDA, it indicates the US FDA. Okay. So 21 CFR part 211, section 211.192. Any unexplained discrepancy, whatever is the discrepancy during the manufacturing, including even the yield also, means whether it yield is a maximum or minimum, whatever which is out of the limit, minimum or maximum limit specified in the BMR, or failure of a batch or any component to meet its specification shall be thoroughly investigated. So it should be investigated whether or not batch has already been distributed or not, irrespective of batch distribution, batch is in the at the plant, but if there is a discrepancy, it has to be investigated. The investigation shall extend to other batches of the same drug product and other drug products also that may be associated with the specific failure or discrepancy. So you need to perform the impact assessment on same other batches of the same product or the different all the other products also based on the type of the discrepancy. A written record of the investigation shall be made and shall include the conclusions and follow. So the FDA always remember that whenever you will go through the FDA guideline, means US FDA guideline, always in their guideline it is mentioned that follow up, a written record of the investigation shall be made. So you need to have a written report, investigation report. Okay, very good. We are doing that. And shall include the conclusions. So we should write the conclusion and follow up. So many people wrongly interpret this follow up. They consider follow up means the kappa. Follow up is not the kappa. Actions are taken and all, it will be mentioned in the guideline. FDA is specifying that. Follow up is something different. You know, I will just explain you in a short period so that you will come to know. And today's training may extend for 10 minutes, maybe 10 to 12 minutes. So please be with me. See what happened when you assign the kappa, corrective actions and preventive actions you put in the investigation, you assign the kappa. But what happened? The kappa is a one. Kappa will be one, but to comply that kappa, there will be multiple actions. For example, let us say you suggested the kappa to revise some SOP. This is the one kappa, but it requires multiple actions. How you are going to revise the SOP? First, you need to do the change control. Then you need to approve the change control. Then you need to draft the SOP. Then you need to sign off the SOP. Then you need to provide the training on the SOP, and then after that the SOP will be implemented. So what happened? There are 5 actions under one kappa. So what happened? You have to follow for each action. That means what? You have to break down the kappa under different subparts so that you will able to follow for each action. Oh yes, kappa target date is suppose 10 days for revision of SOP. So you have to distribute the timeline. Yes, for initiation of change control 1 day, approval of the change control maybe 1 or 2 days. After that, preparing the draft SOPs maybe 2 days. After that, sign off 1 day, training 2 days. So you have to break down the kappa into the sub action points so that you will able to follow up and you will able to implement the kappa properly. Otherwise, what happened? If you assign the 10 days timeline for kappa and if you could not complete, so you will come to know on the last day, 8th day or 9th day, oh kappa only 1 day is there. You will not able to respect the timeline for kappa. So that is why this expectation of FDA is a follow-up. And when you are using any computerized system like TrackWise and all, this is not any sponsored training and all, but I'm just giving examples of some softwares. So in that case, there is already the parent and then child is created for kappa. So in the child you can put the different actions. So automatically you are complying the requirement in case of a computerized system. But in case of manual investigations and deviations and kappa, you need to have the provision for follow. Hope you are getting my point. Okay. The other FDA requirement in subpart F, section 211.100, Written production and process control procedures shall be followed in the execution of the various production and process control functions and shall be documented at the time of performance. Means online entry should be made. This is the requirement since old, and today we are discussing in data integrity about the contemporaneous entry. So just understand the requirement. Okay, I just copy and pasted the requirement. I am more interested in the next because our today's topic is the deviation. So any deviation from the written procedure shall be recorded and justified. So whatever is the deviation from written procedure means anything. Written procedure, whatever is the written procedure. Now written procedure means what? Anything written procedure, whatever, like SOP, BMR, BPR, checklist, whatever approved document is there. If there is a deviation, specification, test procedure, whatever, all approved document, if there is a deviation to the approved documents, then the deviation will be the deviation to the written procedure. Time limitations. So wherever possible, time limits for completion of each phase of production shall be established to assure the quality of a drug product. Deviation from established time limits may be acceptable if such a deviation does not compromise the quality of a drug product. Such a deviation shall be justified and documented. So again, this is a requirement about the production. Again, I am requesting, if you have any questions, please put your questions in the chat box. Okay, I will reply at the end of this session. I am just seeing your questions. Till date there are no any questions, but I will read all the questions after the completion of the training. About the laboratory also, the same requirements are there. Any deviation from the written specification, standards, sampling plan, test procedure, or any other laboratory control mechanism shall be recorded and justified. So this is the expectations of FDA about the laboratory. Hope you are getting all the information about the guidelines and all. So up till now, I was just sharing the information or expectation of the guideline from EU GMP, then ICA, then EU Hydraulics Volume 4, Chapter 2, then ANVISA, US FDA. I was just sharing the information and I was just going through that. But the now point is, whether these all regulations differ from each other, the answer to this question is no. All regulations are expecting the same. What they expect? Whatever is the non-conformity, whatever is the departure, whatever is the deviation should be investigated, root cause should be identified, and suitable corrective and preventive actions should be implemented. So only wordings are different for different requirements from different guidelines, but all the expectations are same. So if you have a deviation SOP, it will comply to the all the requirements, and plus additionally whatever we are going to discuss, if you implement your organization, then automatically you will able to comply the all the guideline expectations. Only thing is, before implementation you need to go through the current version of the guidelines. That's it. Okay, so now let us discuss about the detailed understanding about the deviation. Detailed understanding. Okay, detailed understanding. This is the first 4-5 lines are specified in the WHO guideline. WHO is having somewhat old guideline on deviation. About maybe 2013 or so, the WHO has given the guideline, and after that it is not finalized, but still it can be followed for deviation handling and all. That much of detailed deviation discussions and how to handle, how to investigate and all is not mentioned in any other guideline, but this is what WHO is expecting. So I have written this in the guideline. First 5 lines are from WHO. An efficient deviation handling system should implement a mechanism to discriminate events based on their relevance and to objectively categorize them, concentrating resources and efforts in a good quality investigations of the root causes of relevant deviations. So WHO expects that you need to have an efficient deviation handling procedure and it should not discriminate the events, whatever the deviations occurs or the event are occurred. You should not discriminate based on the relevance and objectivity on and categorize them. So it should be based on the seriousness, or you can say the patient safety need to be considered when you are evaluating that. Deviations, what are exactly deviation? Basically, the many people raise the question, what is the meaning by deviation? So deviations are the measured differences between the observed and expected or normal values of a product or process condition or a departure from a documented standard or procedure or GMP requirement is called deviations. So whatever measured difference between the observed and expected or normal value, or process conditions are not followed, or departure from any document standard or procedure or any GMP requirement is there, is called deviation. So the point is, if during inspection whatever the GMP non-conformance are identified by the inspectors or the auditor, can be considered as a deviation. Many people consider that deviations are planned deviations and unplanned deviations. But remember one point, there is nothing like planned and unplanned deviation. Many companies, earlier, even when we were working in the company and I was working as a quality head, that time also the deviations were categorized as a planned deviations and unplanned deviations. But to be very frank, there should not be a planned deviations. Whatever you are deviating, I think for deviation we should not do the planning. That is what the even FDA expects. One point I want to share a thought is, for that purpose many people use the terminology as a temporary change control, correct? You may be also using the same. But in one of the company, what happened, similar way they were having a planned deviations and unplanned deviations, and the planned deviations of that company was about more than 1200 in 1 year. 1200 planned deviations were there. So the FDA raised the question that you are planning to deviate your quality systems. Then the company played very smartly and they gave the CAPA that we will remove the planned deviations, and they consider this all under the temporary change control. Again, the next year there were more than 1000 temporary change controls after implementation of a temporary change control. And after that, when FDA again came, FDA raised the same question. So basically FDA is not raising the question about the names and all, but the name prefers that, name suggests that plan deviation. So no one should dare to deviate the dare to plan to deviate. So that is the expectations of FDA. But second expectation of FDA is, there should not be that much of more than thousands of a temporary change control or plan deviations, whatever. There should not be that much number of a plan. Oh, okay, if it is an unplanned, it's okay, perfect. So that is the reason I always expect that there is nothing like plan and unplanned. Everything is a plan only. Sorry, everything is an unplanned only. Sorry. So there is nothing like a plan and unplanned. I always prefer that deviations will be unplanned only. Okay, so hope you got this point. So by just changing the name, you are not going to comply the requirement. You need to control the temporary changes. That is the expectations by FDA. I will take some examples. You will come to know, if time permits, then I will take the example also. Don't worry about that. So this is what I was discussing about the thing, and now let us understand about the categories of the deviations. Normally these categories are very simple based on, but I took these categories from WHO guideline. So critical, major and minor, I took the definition from WHO. When the deviation affects a quality attribute, a critical process parameter, an equipment or instrument critical for process or control, of which the impact to patient or personnel or environment is highly probable, including life-threatening situation, the deviation is categorized as critical, requiring immediate action, investigated and documented as such by the appropriate SOP. This is the definition from WHO. This guideline is old and it is in the draft stage only. They didn't finalize this guideline, but still this definitions can be valid. So I just presented here. Many companies use the word critical, major, minor, or many companies categorize as level 1, level 2, level 3. So based on that, I am just sharing the terminologies. That's it. Okay. Major deviations are when the deviation affects a quality attribute, a critical process parameter, an equipment or instrument critical for process or control, of which the impact to patients or personnel environment is unlikely. The deviation is categorized as major, requiring immediate action, investigation and documented as such by the appropriate SOP. So here in the major, the word is unlikely is specified in the definition of a major. And minor is, of course, when the deviation does not affect any quality attribute, a critical process parameter, or an equipment or instrument critical for process or control. It would be categorized as minor and treated as such by the applicable procedure. So this type of deviations are called minor. So these definitions I just took it from WHO guideline because I didn't find the good definitions from any other places. Only the deviation expectations were given. So I took it from there. So the point is, again, this is also specified in the WHO guideline. A decision needs to be made to categorize the deviation as minor, major or critical. So you need to take a decision. What type of deviations will be there, whether it is a critical deviations or it is a major or whether it is a minor. And that decision process is not just based on the thoughts, but it should be based on some scientific approach. So here it is mentioned that should be based as applicable and as possible on the impact and risk on the process and product quality by the use of the quality risk management tool. This is the expectations of a WHO guideline. That is the reason I told you that it is an old guideline, draft stage, not yet implemented, but still it gives a very good thoughts about the deviation. So that is the reason, I am just discussing about this guideline. So please understand this. So the point here is you need to follow some quality risk management tool to categorize the deviations, critical, major and minor. So what type of tool you use, it is up to you. You can use the FMEA tool. Based on that, you identify the RPN, risk priority number, and then you categorize the deviation. Or I have taken some small example of a check sheet of simple questions, check sheet for categorizing the deviations. That way also you can use it. Simple tool also you can use it. It depends on that. So if you want to learn more about the quality risk management, you can go through the small video about the quality risk management, and also one webinar I conducted when the guideline was revised about the ICH Q9 and it is now R1. So if you wish, I will share the link of this guideline to you, or if you put in the YouTube about this quality risk management ICH Q9 R1, you will get the link from the YouTube, no problem. Okay, it is still having the today also it is available, so no problem. Both videos are available. Still I will share the link in the description section, but you can go through the YouTube search directly, no problem. So the point here is, what I was telling is, expectations are when you categorize the deviations, it should be based on some quality risk management tool, because you should identify, you have to evaluate some impact or hazard and the risk on the process and product quality. That is the expectation, and that is the reason we should categorize based on the risk assessment. Okay, not just based on some definitions, because this is very traditional, my dear friends. Definitions will be there and some examples are given in the SOPs, and based on that all the examples and some deviation is there. That deviation happens, suppose that deviation may not be in the example specified in the SOP. So then the question comes that how you categorize this deviation as a critical or major or minor. So you will not have the answer to that. So that is the reason I always suggest that you need to have some scientific approach, or in our case now, scientific approach is a quality risk management tool can be used for categorization. Hope everyone is with me. Again, I am telling you, if you have any questions, please put your questions on the chat box. I will respond to your queries. So I just prepare a small, you can say the uh, you can say the check sheet for how to categorize the thing. It will take some time to display at your end. So basically, you can have this type of questions check sheet like criteria 1 2 3, and you can put some questions left side like event effects on product, on the product, or event effect on the these manufacturing or not, or event effect on the validated process, so that way you can prepare a check sheet that whether it is effect on the product quality, whether the effect on product quality impact on the patient, possible impact on the patient, or whether it is can be lead to the possible data integrity, or whether the deviation or whatever event can lead to the possible or potential cross contamination. So that way you can make the questions. Even you can elaborate this checklist also. I just check sheet. This is called the check sheets. Okay, and this is a part of the ICH Q9. Okay, under ICH Q9 you will find that there are different risk assessment methods are there, and the first is a simple facilitation method, and which is a part of that simple facilitation method. So this is very easy to practically implement and all, and you give the numbering, because what happens, sometimes you may not able to take the decision whether it is impacting on quality, product quality, yes or no. Sometimes you may not be able to take a judgment. So that way you can give the numbering. Then you need to make a total here. You should not multiply it here. Okay, you should make a total, and that way you can give the number. So what happen, if any deviation is there, you apply this tool, so that what happen, you will come to know whether it is a critical, major or minor. Okay, but last 2 points specifically you should not forget that if any event which it is related, which may lead to some for example some cross contamination, or any event may lead to some potential data integrity, so this should be considered as a critical, irrespective of whether the rating is low, maybe lower than the 12 or 3 or so. But still, if out of this 2 will be there, then it will be critical only. So that is the reason I put the asterisk there. You can see here for yes, last 2 rows I have mentioned the asterisk, and you can use it. Again, I am telling you, this is the example I have given. This type of check sheet you can develop for your organization with the example, with the available data what you have based on the previous examples deviation happen in your company, and you can make a check sheet. It is very much competitive and acceptable by the inspectors, not just a judgment of the quality manager that this is a critical, this is a major. Because otherwise what happens, always there will be fighting. If any deviation or something happens in the production, there will be fight between quality assurance and production. Production will say it is a major, quality assurance will say it is a critical, or quality assurance will say major, production will say it is a minor. So that way there will be always the fighting. So if you have this standardized quality risk management approach, you can reduce the these all situations, and you will have the scientific standardized approach. So this is example. Again, I am telling you, just don't just copy and paste and implement it. You can just implement by just having this similar thought. You can develop as your own. Okay. So this is the thing I just want to share you. One more thing I just want to tell you that, okay, this is the way we categorize the deviations. But suppose if it is a repeat type of deviation, then so whether we are going to follow the same strategy, but only thing is, if after following the strategy, if it is a repeat type of level 3 deviations or minor deviation, let us see, level 3 means minor, level 2 is major, level 1 is the critical. So you need to have a procedure in place in such a way that if it is a repetitive minor deviation, it has to be categorized not as a minor, it should be categorized as a major. Similar way, if it is a repetitive type of major deviation, then it should be categorized as critical in nature. Now you will ask me, if it is a repeat type of critical, first of all, critical deviations are, if they are repetitive, it indicates that your kappa systems are not implement effective at all. But still, if suppose it happens, critical deviations repeat, then in that case you have to escalate to the management immediately, and you have to put some automation control, automatic control. It means you can say the logical control instead of a procedural control, because there may be possibility that you put your kappa may be effective also, but somewhere somehow kappa may not be getting followed. So that is the reason you need to put some automation or logical controls to avoid this type of things. So you need to escalate to the management for all this activity. Hope you are getting my point. So this procedure you need to put in your SOP, because most of the time I am finding that in the format or logbook people are writing that whether it is repeat or not, they will write repeat, and but is same way, first deviation, initial deviation and repeat deviation, it is just to copy paste everything, investigations and everything is the same. So it is of no use. So if you escalate this to the higher level of the deviation, like from 3 to 2, 2 to 1, then your focus of investigation will be more high. Hope you got my point. I suggest everyone, you can just put a thought on this, and they can you can put here. Okay, many people will raise one question, so I just want to share one thought here. There are lot of minor type of deviations, like release of product under quarantine, release of raw material under quarantine, not product, release of raw material or packaging material which is under quarantine. So it is not tested by quality control, but you need to release for the manufacturing purpose. So okay, this is a minor in nature. So the control is, you will not release the finished product unless and until that raw material or packaging material is released by quality control. This is the control you are putting there, my dear friends. I agree with you, but again, there should not be repeat type of this type of minor deviations, because if it is a repeat type of the thing, it has to be categorized as a major category. Now you will say, but it is not impacting on product quality, my dear. Yes, I agree with you. It is not, it will not impact on the product quality, but it is impacting on your GMP requirements. GMP, as per GMP requirement, you have to release the raw material and packaging material, and then you should use for manufacturing. So if you are compromising continuously GMP, then it is questioning on your quality system. So then what you can do? In that case, actually the investigation is not done up to the mark, because the reason is given in such a type of deviation. Reason will be to cater the urgent market requirement. This is not the reason, because marketing is getting the order since last more than 3-4 months back. But why the raw material or packaging material received at your end at the last moment? That is what need to be investigated. Whether the orders given by the purchase department at the last moment, or whether the orders posted by the your marketing department to the supply chain very late, they made the error, or there was any problem with respect to the vendor where the vendor cannot supply the material, or whether there is a logistic issue that the logistic is not working well and that is the reason you are getting the material late, or at the vendor end, whatever the product or material available, it was got rejected, last lot was rejected. Due to that, the vendor need to manufacture again the product. So there are a lot of possibilities. Due to that, the raw material or packaging material may received at the last moment in your facility or manufacturing facility. So it is not a minor type of deviation basically. So you have to categorize as a major if it is a repeat type of deviation, and you have to control this. Hey boss, I am allowing this first time. If next time same thing happens, it will be the escalated to the minor to major. That way you have to take a stand to control the repeat type of deviations. Hope you got my point. Again, I'm suggesting if you have any questions, please put your questions on the chat box. I will reply to your questions. Okay. Yeah. This slide is also, I want to touch upon a very peculiar thing from this slide here. Many companies, they have the SOP for deviation, investigations, lot of investigation tools and all, then kappa and all, very good. But whether your SOP for whatever investigation or kappa, whatever SOP is clear, that if kappa is not effective, hope you are aware about this all concepts. As our today's topic is only deviation, I am discussing about the deviation approach only. Okay. So my point is, if your kappa is not effective, whether your SOP is having provision to initiate a deviation for that, so that once kappa is not effective, you come to know that kappa is not effective, similar type of problem happen again. So you need to raise a deviation, whether it is requirement specified in your SOP or not. So once you raise again deviation, so deviation will lead to again investigation, root cause identification, risk assessment, and again additional or other kappa actions will be implemented. So whether this provision is mentioned in your SOP or not, please put a thought. If it is not, I suggest you can just work out on your SOPs. Okay. This is my favorite topic, because why I am telling, because I have audited more than 500 sites, what I told you just now. So then what happened, no, I saw in most of the companies this is the problem. So that is the reason I shared a thought about this. Many companies, they don't have provision, they just put the kappa SOP and kappa effectiveness checks and all, but they don't know if kappa failure, what is the action plan. They don't have the provision. So that is the reason I put here. This is the simple process flow for deviation handling. Okay. So how it will be it should be logged, then it should be evaluated, then it should management approval, check the risk, identify the risk, impact assessment can be done and all. So simple process flow is there, no much discussion. Many companies already having the process flow, the similar type of process flow. Okay. So I don't want too much discuss on the process flow because it is a simple one. Yeah. Now let us discuss about how to effectively write the deviations. How effectively we can write deviations. How? Again, I am telling you, if you have any questions, you put in the comment section. But if you subscribe the this channel, Hitendra Kumar Shah, then only you will able to put the comment. This is what I think setting in the YouTube. I don't know. So that is the reason I am requesting you subscribe the YouTube channel, and then you can put the questions in the chat box. Okay. Then you will able to put the question. Then you will get the access automatically. What some controls are there by YouTube, I don't know. So the point what I am discussing here is how to write the deviations, effective writing of the deviations. So for effective writing of the deviation, this is the first step and very important. Whatever deviation happen, first work intensely to load the problem in the mind, that what is the problem, what is the event, fully completely load into the mind. Very important. Why it is important? Because when you put that into the mind, then you will able to put a thought process. Because see what happened, you are not going to work only on a one activity there. You may have multiple deviations. You may have at the same time some other activities also. So when you are working and writing on the deviation, forget everything, only focus on that, fully understand and load that problem in your mind, so that you will able to focus on that. That is what the first my request to all of you about effective drafting or writing of the deviation. The next thing, I think some couple of seconds will be required to display the slide, effective writing of deviation. So what is the event or what is the finding? That has to be specified properly. Properly means what? what exactly happened, how you can say that this is the deviation. For example, some procedure is wrongly done, so you have to write that this is the procedure followed instead of procedure xyz specified in the SOP number so and so or BMR number so and so. So you need to specify very clearly what event or finding is there. Then how it is identified, how you identify that, or when it is identified, that need to be evaluated. Then when we are discussing about evaluation, then very important, I always suggest all people that the deviation report, when you are writing the deviation report can be read by the person who don't know about the event. This is my theory. Okay, what happened, see, if in a deviation you are aware, or your boss is aware, or your some team members are aware, so you people write the deviation. But the problem is that when you write the deviation or draft the deviation, as you are already aware, some points will be in your mind and you consider that points, okay, this is the normal thing. You will consider that this is a normal thing, not required to put in the report. So you may not able to elaborate the report properly. But when you give this deviation report for review to the other person, any, maybe your corporate quality or global quality or external consultant or any other team member, compliance team or whatever, who don't know about the event, who is not aware about the event, and you just tell, you read it, you understand, and you just tell me what is happened and what are the actions are taken or proposed. So when the person reads, then he or she will ask you some questions that this is not clear about the whether it is equipment related or the material related problem, or this is not clear with respect to whether SOP related problem or BMR related problem. So this type of some chapters or some issues will be highlighted by these people, so that you can address that issues and you can make a proper deviation report. Always follow this golden rule. I always suggest this golden rule. Why I am telling this? Because this deviation report will be reviewed by the the inspectors or the auditors. So they are also the third person. They don't know about the event, what has happened and how it is happened, when it is happened, for what type of product and all. So as this is the third person, who don't know the event, similar way you need to give that deviation report for review or reading for the other person, so that that person will able to raise some questions. Okay, and I always suggest that whatever quality notifications are there, that has to be audited, reviewed properly by either corporate quality team or global quality team, or if you don't have corporate or global team, then at least the external consultant or external agents. The reason is you need to have a third eye view on this. Many people, they feel why it is required, deviation is very basic, but the quality system is a mandatory system, audited during every audit, during every inspection. Quality system always will be under focus. So whatever quality notifications are there, deviation, OS, change controls, product quality review, should be audited by either independent agency or independent team, either corporate quality or global quality team or external consultants. You decide. Okay, you decide, but it has to be evaluated and audited independently. That is my suggestions to all of you. Then when you are discussing about the writing properly the deviation, how to write the deviation properly and all, you have to consider the related activities like impact assessment, risk assessment. Many people confuse about the impact assessment and risk assessment. I think there will be some 10 minutes more. Please bear with me, because I want to complete this topic. Couple of slides are there, please. So impact assessment means what is the impact of this deviation on the other product, other batches, or other product manufactured with the similar type of equipment. That is called an impact assessment. And risk assessment means what is the risk associated with that deviation, that has to be identified, evaluated, and then you need to suggest the mitigation plan. So this is the risk assessment. Okay. Further, again I am telling, if you need to understand risk assessment in detail, you can go through these two different videos I have posted. You can go through that. And then very important thing is when you are discussing about the deviations, then or that also major or critical type of deviations, then immediate actions or correction is the perfect technical word here. Correction, I am not telling about corrective and preventive action, I am telling about the correction. So whatever the non-conformity happen, it has to be corrected first, that is called the immediate actions. So what immediate actions we are going to take, that also you need to specify. So these are some points I think you need to consider. There is a big, actually the deviations and investigation, it's a big training, it requires minimum 2 days, but I am making you aware about the deviations, that how better way you can write the deviations. Okay, hope you know with this training session at least you will learn something. At least maybe if you learn 10% also, I believe that my time and my efforts are used. Okay, and I am successful in that. Thank you. So the next is about the trending of the deviation. So what happened during the trending of the deviation? When we do the trending deviations, there is a protocol, the copy paste of the previous year deviations is followed. So what happened when you are trending the deviations? Then simple point is what? Deviation based on the department wise deviations are categorized. Then then category of the deviations like raw material related, packaging material related, finished product related, something like that deviations are there. Main point is what? Our deviation trending should shed light on the intra and inter batch trend. So whatever the deviations are there, they should focus on the center, focus on the actual problem, not just the off center, like department wise. What is the fun department wise and all? So the problem is if you starting the raising the deviation department wise, then the problem is next year production will say why I should raise the deviation. Other department will raise the deviation, like suppose the case is a release of material under quarantine. Then production will say I don't want the material, you release, then only I will use it. So that way there will be always fighting. So my point is, when we are discussing about the trending, the trend should help you to focus on the problem, that what type of deviations are repetitive and how many repetitives are there as compared to the earlier year, previous year, so that it should able to focus the light on intra or inter batch trend. So whether it is with respect to the specific product or specific products manufactured by the specific machine, that it should able to focus. This is the purpose of the deviation. And if you found some adverse trend on the deviation with respect to specific performance of the machine or the equipment or the process or the method, then you need to raise another deviation from trend and investigate why this is happening. This is the expectation of FDA. Even you can go through the FDA guideline, they always focus on variabilities, variabilities between the process and this one. So you need to consider the variability parameter. So how you will come to know? By performing the trending. So this point you need to consider. Okay, I am just touching upon this requirement, so hope you are getting the points properly. There are some deficiencies observed in the deviation handling. Some errors are happening. So I have enlisted some problems about the deviations handling process. So I will just go through that. You will already come to know it is simple to understand. Lack of documented investigation, incomplete investigations, factors are not considered or documented, some points are not considered or documented, associated lots not identified or evaluated, so impact assessment is not properly done or identified, root cause not established or justified, so there is no rationale why it is a root cause, conclusion not supported by the data. So investigation will be different and the conclusion will be something different. So there is no any not supported by the data, conclusion made just like it is. Timeline is not followed. So there will be timeline for the different categories of the deviations, like critical deviations need to investigate it in specific time and all. But the timeline is not followed and it gets extended. So this type of deficiencies are there. CAPA not implemented or tracked or completed. effectiveness is not verified. So these are some of the deficiencies identified during the deviation handling. Hope you are getting this point properly. Again, I am telling, if you have any questions, yeah, there are a lot of questions are there, so I will respond to your all questions. Don't worry about that. One thing I just want to share a thought up, on the basis of this training is, I am going to conduct a paid webinar on 30th of October this month. It is a paid webinar. Fees is very small, just at 2000 Indian rupees, and that fees I will be going to donate for the farmers. I have seen that there are a lot of farmers are there who are doing very very well, but at the same time there are some farmers, they are below poverty level. So this type of farmers, even they cannot bake somewhere else, they will not get even the loan from the banks and all, and they need the money for purchasing lot of things for the farming and all. So when I visited some farmers, I come to know this is the major problem we are facing. So for that purpose only, I am going to conduct this paid webinar to support the farmers of India. It will be on October 30 to 2023. It will be about a 3 to 4 hours webinar where we will be detailed discussing about the quality risk management with the practical approach. So we will having a learning. I will give the training material, guideline references will be shared. Also the certification will be given on the training session. And of course, whatever the fees, again I am telling, it will be you are going to support to the noble cause. So please understand this. I am just sharing a thought, okay? And this training will not be freely available in the somewhere else. So that is the reason it will be the paid basis. So please take care of this. If you are interested in the paid training, you can send the WhatsApp message to me. I will share all the details, because in the training I will be sharing first the pre-training questionnaire also. So what are your expectations from the training, that also you can share it to me, and then I will share the complete brochure and the process also, okay? And further, in the YouTube membership program is there, CGMP, GMP, CGMP and Advanced GMP. I have specified here. You can just go through YouTube, you put the Hitendra Kumar Shah, the YouTube channel will appear, then you can put the join button and you can get the very different benefits of these different levels. If you are not getting any GMP news and all routine basis, send me the WhatsApp message that you are getting or not getting the news. If you are the member of the this group, any group, GMP, CGMP or Advanced GMP, and still you are not getting the update on news or GMP news, please send me the WhatsApp message. I will just look into the YouTube programs, okay? So this is just information I want to share about the today's topic about the deviation. And finally, I would like to thank you, all of you, for your kind support. Thank you so much. And let us now discuss about the questions, okay? So please be with me. The reason why I'm telling you, because you will learn more from the somebody's questions, okay? Because whatever I was just speaking now I am going to read the questions. Can you please explain the deviations related to computerized system in QC lab? Live server system crashed for Empower HPLC system. See, you are telling is correct. There may be the things and all, but for that you need to have a business continuity plan, Mr. Sham Suzawa Chaudhary. So you need to have a business continuity plan, and under that you need to have a event detection, and through that you need to raise a deviation about the server system crash. If you are more interested in the business continuity plan about this and how to prepare that and all, you can go through the business continuity plan webinar, which is already available under Hitendra Kumar Shah YouTube channel. You will come to know. If you have any further question, you can again put the question, okay? Yogesh Patil is asking, during filling operation, operator go outside from production area without performing personal monitoring. This is incident or deviation. See, basically what happened, no? Incident, not incidents, it's an incident or deviation. All are nothing but a deviation only. Deviation is very simple, departure from all written procedure, documented evidence, then GMP requirement. So this is a GMP requirement. Somebody is not doing this, so it's a deviation only. So don't get confused. Only in quality control laboratory, as you need to run some you need to set the instrument, HPLCs and chromatographic systems and all. You need to have some laboratory errors or incidents in quality control laboratory. But otherwise in operations, quality assurance and other all the departments, everything is deviation only. There is no incident and all. You can write the deviation only. Hope you understood, Mr. Yogesh Patil. Kumanan is asking, after successful kappa effectiveness verification, if the same type of deviation occurred, how to handle? So same thing I was telling you, that what happened, you implement the kappa and you verify the kappa effectiveness for maybe 3 months or 6 months based on the severity of the kappa. But if it happens after that again, it indicates that what your action plan is a procedural based action plan and somebody somehow is not following that action plan. So in that case, what you have to do, you need to escalate this to the higher management and try to go for some automation so that this type of things will not repeat. Okay. Mr. Nivrutti is asking how to check effectiveness of kappa. There is actually separate point. This is a separate topic required, Mr. Nivrutti. I understand this question. My suggestion is I will take a separate session on that corrective and preventive action in future. That time we will discuss about complete the effectiveness of the kappa. Okay, so be tuned, stay tuned with the YouTube channel Hitendra Kumar Shah. I will once I organize the training every on Saturday I am organizing. So once I organize the training on this topic, definitely we will discuss in detail. Mr. Mahesh is asking difference between incident and deviation. See, in earlier olden days, incident, something unplanned, something happen, surprisingly happen, like glass damage and all. This type of examples were given in earlier days, and this is categorized as the incident, while deviations are categorized in a different way. But nowadays, everything is a deviations. Everything is a deviation. See, damage of the building is a deviation, because building and facilities is a part of a CGMP requirement. Or damage of a coving, again it is a deviation, because the facility is a part of the deviation only. Sorry, facility is a part of a CGMP only. So please understand that whatever is happening which is deviation to the GMP requirements and the documentation and deviation to the written procedure, everything is a deviation only. Okay, so only thing, incident, why I use the word, because in quality control, as in the quality control cannot inject the trial injection, they need to inject directly the blank and then followed by the next injection. So due to that, they need to have some repeat injections and all to address system suitability issues and all. They need to have some quality systems, quality management system or quality notifications. For that purpose, you can use the incident. Otherwise, normally everything is a deviation only. Okay. What is the timing for paid QRM? Okay. Timing, I have planned evening 7 onwards, but it is a tentative. So based on I will verify, I will just check the suitable timings for all the people, but mostly it will be evening so that everybody can attend it for the training. It will be about 3 hours, 3 or maybe more. So miss 3 hours will be there, but if it requires more time also, we will be sitting, because after evening we are all will be available that way. Okay. Then otherwise even we can discuss once we have member, then we will discuss about all the members and then we can decide. But tentatively the timing is 7 onwards, evening 7. Somebody I shot, I don't know who is this person. How many deviation considered as repetitive? Second deviation, if a same type or same category is a repeat type of deviation. Okay. Second, for example, first I raise a deviation to release of microcrystalline cellulose under quarantine, is the first deviation. After 2 months or next month, I am raising one deviation to release of metformin hydrochloride API under quarantine. So still metformin hydrochloride will be the second deviation. So it is a repeat deviation. So the repeat type of deviation will be based on the nature of the deviation and not the product or equipment specific. Repeat type of deviation should be nature based. Okay, nature specific. So first is the normal, and when it is a repeat means second time it happens, it is a repeat type of deviation. That's it. So you need to escalate it. So it is a category 3. First it will be category 3, then it will be category 2. Or if first it will be minor, then it will be categorized as a major. That way, okay. As per how many deviations considered as per repeat? As per any guideline? No. In guideline it is not specified anything, but it's a repeat. So the meaning of repeat means what? Something first time happened and second time again happened. That is the repeat. So that's the way, For repeating and all, there is no any guideline. But repetitive means second time happened means it is a repeat deviation. That's it. Mr. Pulareddy is asking, any threshold or KPU can be set for deviation or other non-conformance with respect to category, type of the deviations or root cause base? If so, how much is allowed? What statistics can suffice? Sorry, I am not getting exactly, Mr. Pulareddy, about any threshold means what, with respect to the number of the deviation or what? I am not getting your exact question. So please, if you can possibly, you can write it again. No problem. I will again read it. Mr. Meet to Piyush is asking how to become an auditor. See, for becoming the auditor, we need to have a formal training. A standard approach for auditor, becoming a qualified auditor is you need to have a formal training of auditor qualification and certification. That training will be for 2 days training. After that training, you need to do the 2 audits in along with the approved auditor. So you can do the 2 audits, maybe internal audits or maybe vendor audits with other qualified auditor, and then the 3rd audit you need to do. But at the same time, when you are doing the 3rd audit, along with you will be the lead auditor, and along with you the co-auditor will be there. The co-auditor will be the earlier qualified auditor. So that way you can have 3 audits, and after that you will be the auditor. So that way you can become auditor. Hope you got my point, Mr. Piyush. Mahesh is asking, what is the benefit of advanced GMP training session? Advanced GMP training session? I don't know. Advanced GMP, there is no advanced GMP training session. There is a categories of membership program of YouTube, GMP, CGMP and advanced GMP. So if you go there, only there are the options are given. Okay, CGMP, GMP. Like suppose if you need some person to person, personal support from me, you need to discuss something and you need to get the clarity, then I can a monthly basis I can support you. So that way is the benefit, that's it. If it is a advanced GMP. Then Mr. Pudati is asking, can we say any deviation occurrence is high but detectability is high and always correction is sufficient considering inheritance nature? See, I agree with you. Occurrence is high and detectability also high. I agree with you, and you can correct it. So same example I told that release of the material under quarantine. Same example can be here. So it will be occurrence is high and detectability is very high, because you are not going to release the finished product unless and until that raw material or a packing material is released. So detectability is also high. Control mechanism in place. But what happened? You are compromising your quality system. So that is the reason. If it is a repeat type of, you should not allow just as a minor type of nature. So that is the thought behind this. Hope Mr. Pulareddy you understood the point. And please hit the like button of this training session. The reason is, if you put a lot of hit the likes and all, so YouTube will consider this as acceptable, good gesture to the video, and they will even share to different people or different pharma colleagues for the learning. Okay. Mr. Raju is asking, what is the frequency of closing critical major deviation as per guideline? See, there is no any guideline to have a closing period and all, but the point is, if it is a product or batch specific deviation, then the deviation should be closed before release of the batch. That is what the expectation. So you need to close the deviation before release of the batch. That's it. So timeline you decide and you put in the SOP, no problem. Okay. Mr. I Short is asking, how to handle data integrity related deviation and what could be kappa? Oh, very, very, very good point. You raised this question. Data integrity deviations are, handled very systematic way. To be very frank, first of all, kappa will be based on the nature of the deviations. But if you ask me simple thing, I will just share your thought as, whatever data integrity deviations are there, there are two types of reason basically. One is a technical problem, and another is a behavioral problem or personal specific problem. So based on that, you need to investigate whether the problem data integrity related due to the technical problem or a behavior, and based on that you need to investigate. Okay, and accordingly you need to take a kappa. Mr. Hope you got Mr. I shot. I don't know who is this, but good name, I shot. Machindra, Mr. Machindra is asking how to differentiate between incident and deviation. I am from QC. Okay. See, whatever deviation to your specification, test procedure, sampling plan, sampling schedule, SOPs is a deviation. While incident only relate to your instrument, like for example, if your system suitability is failure, you need to again inject the standards and all, then in that case you can follow your local incident procedure. That way you need to, but my point is, whatever you put your SOP, incident or laboratory error, some companies they have laboratory error, like before injecting the standard, whatever the blank is injected, and if system is not set during the blank initial injection, the companies consider this as a laboratory error or laboratory event, followed by, in case of standard, they raise the incident. So this type of categorizations are there in quality control. But my point is, whatever you specify incident and all, your scope of the SOP should be very clear. The analyst should not ask the question, sir, should I raise incident or deviation? This question they should not ask. How OS is clear, out of specification, scope is very clear. Out of specification, scope is very clear. If it is out of the limit, we need to raise out of specification. Similar way, your scope of the incident and deviation should be very clear in your SOP, that when you need to raise the laboratory error, when you need to do the invalidation of the chromatogram, when you need to raise the incident, it should be very, very clear. And deviation SOP should be handled through the quality assurance, so that it will be applicable for all quality assurance, quality control across the plant. Okay, hope Mr. Machindra you got the idea about this. After this, if you have again any question, please raise your questions. Already 23 minutes are we extended for 23 minutes. Thank you so much for your kind attendance. Okay, and if possible, please attend our paid training session on 30th of October. I am just collecting the fund to support the poor farmer basically, who need some money to purchase some fertilizers and seeds to, and some other requirements and all. That is the reason. That's it. Okay, so thank you so much, and ensure all time compliance. See you on the next Saturday for again the next free session. Okay, thank you so much, and please hit the like button, and please share this link to your colleagues, so that same link will be used to access the video again. If you have any questions about the topic again, you can go through the same link and you can go through the things, because whatever we are discussing now, it is getting automatically recorded in the YouTube. So that will be available in YouTube for long period. So if you have any doubt, again you can go through the same recording from the same link. So if you can share this link with your colleagues, they can go through the recording of the webinar, which is already available in the YouTube. They can access from the same link, whatever you are accessing now, same link. Only thing, that will be the recorded one, and now whatever you are connected with me, it is a live one. That's it, the difference. Okay, so thank you so much. See you next Saturday for the next training session, and hope we will discuss on the quality risk management during the paid training session. Thank you so much, and ensure all time compliance. Thank you so much. And now I am closing this training session. Thank you so much.